The rise of Aguanbx Vexia, Matatan of Grithium, from the Southern Chronicles of the year 1110 VK. The waters of the Grithiax Lake flow slowly. The Vexia Battalions, once famed for their iron discipline, returned bearing neither plunder nor glory, only silence. Among them walked Aguanbx Vexia, son of Krassux's line, whose temper had not been dulled by defeat. Aguanbx stood in rage in Grithium's harbors. For months, the black forges of Grithium burned, while the Ghritii clans squabbled over the cost of their failed campaign. From his basalt-walled fortress on the southern island of Borix, Aguanbx observed the growing chaos. Sulsian nobles on the mainland withheld tribute, and the specter of extinction loomed, a disunity reminiscent of the chaos that once engulfed Yaya. At his side stood Habaguanex, his seasoned Warsiq and cousin, who had kept the army fed during the retreat from Weskoria. Together they tallied losses and swore that Grithium would not rot from within. In the council chambers of the City of Grithium, Lady Huarea of Ghritii, widow of a fallen commander, pleaded for unity among the clans. Her words were ignored by the noble elders, who saw her loyalty to the Laixan bloodline as dangerous zeal. It was Huarea's quiet support that allowed Aguanbx to rally the disillusioned soldiers and rebuild from the wreckage. He was not a man of speeches, but of movement. When the Council of Grithium refused him funds for another voyage to Weskoria, he took it as proof, or rather a pretext, that the island's rulers had lost their nerve. He resolved to act without them. The March of Borix. In the spring of 1110 VK, Aguanbx crossed to the mainland by traversing the Strait of Whispers. A narrow dry strait connected Borix and Grithium under the pretense of protecting their trade routes. His 20,000 soldiers, seasoned veterans of Weskoria, Gritty auxiliaries, and island-born mercenary, met little resistance at first, taking Blueport City without resistance. But in the heart of mainland Grithium, in the forested region known as the Wet Forest, the Sulsian master Tyreliox the Iron-Tongued had his mercenary army at camp. Tyreliox was generally despised by nobles and commoners. His rule was marked by brutal taxes and executions disguised as justice. He had seized temples, dissolved assemblies, and stripped nobles of their ancestral rights, declaring himself the voice of the sun. Aguanbx saw this not merely as tyranny, but as chaos disguised by ritual. Surprisingly, the necessary precedent for a shift in power emerged. Yet, Krassux the Younger, his unit captain, who had once fought beside him in the Weskorian sands, urged caution. Habaguanex urged patience. Still, Aguanbx ignored both. He saw in Tyreliox not an enemy to be debated, but a symbol of tyranny and decay. The battle at Krassux Pass. In the spring of 1111 VK, the air crackled with a tension that mirrored the looming conflict. The two formidable armies converged in the Krassux Pass, a treacherous defile carved between towering basalt cliffs and the glistening Silver River, on the very edge of the foreboding wet forest of Grithium. The master's troops, though fierce in their individual might, suffered from a debilitating disloyalty, a fractured will that Aguanbx, with his shrewd tactical mind, would exploit. Aguanbx, a figure of silent intensity, meticulously arranged his lines. His black-armored Laixans, a stoic and unyielding force, were positioned to absorb the initial charge, a critical component of his strategy. Simultaneously, his niece and trusted cavalry commander, Warsiq Vexia, executed a flanking maneuver. Her horse spears rode in a low, menacing formation, crashing the Vexian cavalry into the Tyreliox's left. In the center, the Laixan guards held the line, with Aguanbx in the thick of battle. Aguanbx's fierceness on the battlefield effectively frightened, holding the entire enemy army like a roller blind. As the sun began its descent, casting long, distorted shadows across the battlefield, the tide of the conflict turned decisively. By dusk, the once proud banners of Tyreliox lay fallen, their vibrant colors now stained with the grime of battle and the blood of the fallen. The master himself, a figure of tragic bravery, was cut down amidst the thickest of the fighting. He had fought valiantly until his last breath, his sword shattered, his shield splintered, a testament to his unwavering, albeit ultimately futile, resolve. That night, the Silver River ran dark, stained crimson with the blood of countless warriors. The desolate cries of the fallen echoed mournfully down the valley, a haunting lament that persisted until the first light of morning. The conflict became known as the Battle of the Midnight Echoes. When Aguanbx entered the regent's hall, in what was once Tyreliox's seat of power within the mainland, the surviving nobles knelt without command. Lord Uramax of the Red Hills, who had once conspired with Tyreliox, broke his own seal of office and offered it at Aguanbx's feet. The people, and nobles of Grithium, long taxed and beaten, offered no opposition, but rather accepted offerings of salt and grain from the Vexia treasuries. They did not call him conqueror, but Matatan, protector of the people. The founding of the Vexian dynasty. Aguanbx, eschewing no titles, focused on rebuilding, restoring markets, and dedicating the forges of Borix to defense, not plunder. He appointed Lady Huarea as his steward of law, Habaguanex to oversee the forges, and Krassux to train the Southern Guard, thereby solidifying Vexian control. Aguanbx became Matatan, advised by a small council of nobles. To legitimize his rule, he pardoned rebel nobles and returned all Terieliaks taken during his time as city master. This marked the beginning of the Vexian dynasty, an era where military discipline became law and the spearhead of Laixan's blood once more found purpose on Grithium soil. Over time, the military culture of Krassux's descendants merged the military culture of Grithium to produce some of the greatest warriors and commanders in Burgundia. Over time, Aguanbx earned the moniker, quote, Aguanbx the Stone Matatan, a testament to his ability to transform defeat into a foundation for a new age. Ruling and stabilizing Grithium was now the focus of the Vexia noble family,